Well, that wasn't too smart. What if I hadn't been wearing my web cartridges? I never actually thought of that.
Because, like, this kid was up here, he jumped off.
Yeah.
You know what's wrong with that?
The symbiote made the
His web.
made the web, so why would it matter?
Yep. And you think if you're hyping something as, like,
The
Secret
sequel
War,
to Secret War.
what was the number one thing that happened that everyone remembers in Secret Wars? Spider-Man got the black costume.
Right. And it made those organic webs. Or
Mm-hmm.
It made its own webs.
Mm-hmm. Really? I mean, I know it doesn't reference stuff to what's going on in the Marvel Universe until this issue, because the kid goes to the Marvel Universe in this issue.
Right.
Because he found out, because all the villains started, he found the portal, so now he's in the Marvel Universe trying to find the superheroes to bring them to our world.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
remember how all the villains are showing up in this kid's town? Well,
Yeah.
they're all there, and now they're all blowing shit up and
Right.
everything. So this kid found the portal that the villains are using to come in from my universe. So he goes into there, and
Right.
now he's hunting down like Captain America and stuff like that, trying to convince the superheroes that all the villains are in his world,
Right.
destroying it, and to come help him.
Right.
So that's what's going on in this issue. But not until this issue does it really reference 1985 Marvel Universe. And to me, that Spider-Man thing, it's kind of a big fuck up. I mean, I know it's like a really sticking point for nerds, but really? Like, even I know that.
Well, this is a book for nerds. I mean, it's not. This is not. It's not a comic book that's written for the
That's
casual
true.
reader.
That's true.
I mean, you had to have read Secret War. You had to have been, this kid in this world.
So how
to
many-
get it?
What? How loud do you think the collective sigh of the nerds were when they read that? Oh, no, you see, you don't understand. He doesn't have web cartridges. His symbiote produced the web fluid.
This symbiote produced, and everyone had that big argument that he was making the webs from here,
From
as
there,
opposed
right.
to here.
Yeah, he was shooting from the top, which they fucked up on a Marvel statue a while ago, a bust with the symbiote costume. They had him doing this,
Like that.
yeah,
Ah,
and it should be like this.
Yes.
But like they can't even keep that straight, really.
Well, I put that on Mark Millar because this is supposed to be the big geek project, and
Yeah,
he's
well,
not,
fail, big fail.
Well, and I guess right now what's happening with Mark Millar, and he is.
But out of all the Mark Millar books, I do have to say I do like this book in general. But it was just that one
Right.
thing. Yeah, he's writing it for the nerds. He's writing it for the comic geeks
Right.
who loved the shit back then.
Right.
And to do something that simple like that and fuck it up.
Right. I
Lazy.
haven't been reading. We've already talked about it. I'm
Again.
not reading 1985, and I don't want to.
I know, but again, where are the editors on that?
Oh, they're letting Mark do what he wants.
But where are the fucking editors to pick up that mistake? That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna tell you right, I'm gonna tell you right now. If I was writing 1985, okay, here's what it is. If I were writing 1985, my editor would have went, "Hey, Elliott, you know what? Back then, Spider-Man had the symbiote."
That's what I'm talking
See?
about.
But because it's Mark Millar writing it, they're like, "Oh, well, just let him do his thing." They're like doing a hands-off approach on him because he's Mr. Big name, big talent. He's getting comics being made into movies, and
I think that's the problem with Mark Millar is that they're giving him the hands off. Like I'm sure they're giving DC's giving Frank Miller the hands off treatment with also Batman and Robin. You know what? These people need to be corralled in and just.
No, there's something to be said for editors kind of keeping things in check. Editors sometimes do more than just check your spelling for you.
Exactly.
So since we're starting off on Mark Millar here, I mean,
John Barber, that's the editor for this book.
Well, I hope John is given 40 lashes for forgetting that one.
See, I don't even know who John Barber is. I've never heard that name before.
Well, I know we're starting to sound like that episode of The Simpsons when Homer was one of the voices on Itchy and Scratchy.
No, yeah. But that's the whole point of this comic, though.
Yeah.
Is to tie directly into that Marvel universe of that time, and that was the number one biggest thing that came out of Secret Wars was that Spider-Man got the symbiote.
No, you know what it is? That wasn't really Spider-Man. No. That was a Skrull.
Oh.
The Skrulls have infiltrated 1985. So, okay, I'm not reading 1985. I refuse to read it on principle alone. And I picked up the first issue of War Heroes, and for as much as I like Tony Harris, I am not reading this book either. I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it like that date that you were forced to take to the prom. Like you were supposed to bring your cousin, and you went and you lost her.
Why?
Because first, the book itself is like incredibly simplistic. For something dealing with superpowers in the military. Okay, in the very beginning, I don't know if you read this.
I read it.
Yeah, you read this. The whole thing about what happened with, it's essentially what happened after 9/11, but then after 9/11, other things happened. Mm-hmm. Like a terrorist went up to the Lincoln Memorial and blew themselves up, which, but because of all that now, despite of this curtain of fear that has engulfed our nation, despite repeated attacks, enlistment in the armed forces is dropping. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so to get people to want to enlist in the armed forces, they are now offering you superpowers so that you'll join. Mm-hmm. And then it's basically what happens to people who are in the armed forces with superpowers. And my first question, Mr. Millar, is did you ever serve in the armed forces? Has he ever served in the armed forces?
No.
I've got 3 brothers who served in the armed forces, and this makes them lose their shit, so to speak.
Oh, then you really hate to.
Oh yeah, issue number 2 that you showed me.
Then you would really hate what all the protagonists. You really hate to find out why they joined. They didn't join for superpowers. They joined to make money.
Well,
They're selling because they give them. Spoiler alert. By the way, this came out 2 weeks ago, so I'm gonna because this is a pretty big reveal. What they're doing is the group of people who all joined because they get pills, right?
Right.
So they're gonna take all their pills and they're getting shipped off to Iraq in this issue. They're gonna sell their pills to Al Qaeda and the Taliban to make money. It's all about money and greed. That's why they join. So as soon as they get to Iraq, they're gonna desert the army. And they're gonna go sell these superhero pills. So you're gonna have terrorist superpowers. That's what the whole thing is.
But okay, here's my question: are the powers permanent? Because I didn't get that they were permanent when they took the pill.
No, they have to take pills.
So if they take all the pills and they sell them to the Iraqis, where does that leave them then? I mean, if I was going to commit treason against the United States, first, if I sell my superpowers to the enemy, I can say forget getting any money. Especially, no one's going to sell Al Qaeda anything unless you're Iran, but that's a different story. It would have made for a much more compelling story, or at least a more nuanced or really realistic story if it was that. Mm-hmm. That again. But maybe Mark Millar is thinking, but it's been done to death. This whole super arms race, so we have to take some American soldiers and turn them into traitors. I don't know. I just, this book is just, to me, it's very incredibly simplistic. When you take, like, let's say, the social, the social dynamics of the storyline in this compared to, say, Pax Romana, mm-hmm. where Jonathan Hickman knows human nature and he understands how people, like mass populations, react under certain conditions. Mm-hmm. This. The way people act in this comic book makes really very little sense to me. Makes very little sense.
And especially when you throw in a sweet set of cock and balls in the second issue for no other reason except to have a big set of cock and balls in the comic. Like
I'm sorry, are you speaking? Is this some sort of slang term that you're using? No. Do they really show? Is there actual frontal nudity?
Yeah. Wow. Male frontal and then they have in the panel frontal shot, and then Tony Harris is nice enough to draw it from behind also in the second panel. But to me, it's like, wow, Mark Millar, really? Are you 12 fucking years old and you need to put a penis in your book? Is really? It's so unnecessary. It is so unnecessary. It is. Maybe that's who this book is being written for. Maybe that's why this book is so beneath us, is because he's writing it for 12-year-olds.